Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Epicor User Group for February. People are slowly joining here. We're getting folks signed on. Oops, we lost Beth somewhere. Uh-oh. She'll be back.
I'm here.
Go. She's hiding.
I turned my camera off. I don't want to see everybody see how beautiful I am. It will overshadow.
So we'll let folks kind of get connected here. I think when I last checked, we were around 230 people expected. So we'll give folks a few minutes to get connected here, and then we'll start up with the new business and start moving forward with presentations.
Can you make me a presenter, Fred? I'll go ahead and share my screen here for the opening.
Yes, make presenter. I don't want keyboard and mouse. You're on your own, man. John Meyer says, can't hear me. John, you might want to check your audio because Christine and Calvin have been able to hear me, so.
You're definitely on.
Everyone's able to see the agenda for today.
Yeah,
We see a blue screen with an agenda 21622.docx.
That's the agenda for today.
file folder, just your file folder.
Yeah, you might want to open it up.
No,
Unless you have it on a different screen.
Bingo. The drawback when the VMUG meetings come out, I try to go to 5 screens, so I never really know where I am.
Yeah.
There you go. Now we can see you.
I'm like, let me find the right screen for everybody. So for new business, hey, we've got Beth on here from the Michigan, Indiana group. Christine Fierce is showing her camera, so she's in the Iowa group. She's not lurking or hiding. I'm Calvin Decker. I'm a little blue today, and then Fred is also here with us. Who else do we have in this chairpersons that have joined into the meeting today? I haven't crawled through the presentation or the attendees list. Did Bruce make it this morning?
He is registered, but I haven't seen him in yet. But we've got people coming in still.
Okay.
And I'm trying to scroll through the list to see if there's anyone else.
Yeah, my wheel mouse isn't scrolling today on it. It's going to be a fun day. Nope, not seeing others offhand on here. Mark Olbrantz is our co-chair. He's already on here, I see. So we've got a handful of our chairpersons already into the meeting. They'll be joining in during the meeting as we go today. Our presenters today, we have a fun little announcement. Justin from Scranton Manufacturing. He's going to be doing a presentation on DocStar ECM and how they use it over at Scranton. Scranton manufactures garbage trucks. Another company name is New Way Trucks or McLaughlin Family Companies. They're a conglomerate that kind of uses Epicor over there. Next, Fred's going to go over SQL administration, kind of the basics with SQL admin, how to do a backup, how to restore, how to make sure your server's tuned to perform efficiently for your company. And then after that, we have Jack Dye attending. He's going to be going over grant money that's available through Federal Trade Assistance Adjustment Commission. It's federal grant money that manufacturers can apply for based on different programs that they offer. And Jack's going to introduce us to some of the programs that they're running right now that people have the ability to go apply for. Jack's not going to cover all of the United States, but Jack does have other counterparts that he works with and will put us in touch with. So if somebody from state of Washington needs a referral, or who do they contact for their territory, Jack will go ahead and get you in touch with that person. We have a break from 12:30 to 1 for lunch. And if you notice the agenda, Fred tried to send out the confirmation this morning. It had us picking up after lunch at 1:30, so we almost got a full hour for lunch. That got changed this morning. We're going to move the kinetic screen customizations up until 1 o'clock. Jose sent an email this morning that he may be running behind or may need to cancel. He's having a little bit of a panic down there at Stephen Gold. So I've whipped together an application studio presentation for everybody, and we're going to still cover the topic of how to do screen customizations in the application studio in Epicor 11. This will also work in Epicor 10.2.700 and some patches of 10.2.600. I'm going to say wait until you hit the Epicor 11 or 2021 to start really using the application studio when the bugs got really taken out of it. That will end up going for an hour and a half. So I'm really going to mute myself while the morning presentations go and add more content to this presentation so that we have a real good show for everybody. If Jose is able to make it, he said he will try. Otherwise, we'll do a joint session. If he can just join for a little bit, we'll split the two of us doing the presentation. And then from 2 o'clock or 2:30 until 3:30, we have the Stump the Chump session, which is going to be a handful of people. Fred, do you have a list of who all was in that? You, me, Tim Shoemaker,
Hasso.
Carrick over at UDF.
Yep. I think Justin said he was going to be able to hang out, and Brad Bowes was coming in as well.
Awesome. As well as Christine and Beth Wall be sitting in taking the Stump the Chump questions. If you have a question, there is no bad question, first off. Prefix. Every question, if you can't figure out the answer, please go ahead and ask it. We will throw this out, and between all of us experts or all of us more advanced users, we're going to try and answer that question the best we can to get you up and running. So any question is still good. If you have a question, you can put it into the chat window. You can email Fred directly. And I want to say, was there a question window also? Yes.
Yeah, the question window is the best place to put them because then I can grab them from there.
And we'll put that together for the presentation when we do the 2:30 to 3:30 Stump the Chump. And if, like every other session we've done, this is going to run a little over. I don't think we've ever gotten out in under an hour's worth of questions. Updates for the 2022 year. May 15th, or I'm sorry, May 11th, 2022 is our next meeting. That's going to be a couple weeks before Insights. You'll see, I'll mention that one. August 17th is the fall meeting. November 9th will be our fourth quarter meeting, and that's when we'll vote on the dates for next year. Go ahead and mark your calendars. Insights is coming up. It's May 23rd through the 26th down in Nashville, Tennessee. I haven't been keeping abreast of it, I admit. Anybody know who the performer is this year?
I haven't seen
Okay.
it.
Okay. Hopefully someone will let us know. I know they're going to post that here shortly because they've already got to have the person booked.
I should say, though, the early bird registration does end on Friday, if anybody wants to
Okay.
take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's
So
correct. And
the
for
discount,
those
you have
Michigan-
2 days.
yeah, the Michigan, Indiana folks, I'm actually going to be at Insights this year. So if you're going, let me know.
Awesome. Are we going to have a little shindig for the user groups again?
I
think
hope
we
so.
should. I'm planning to be there. So
Yeah, maybe
Awesome.
we'll do a joint, some kind of something. We'll chit chat about that.
I can already smell the 7 and 7 being served at the bar for me.
Calvin,
Awesome.
can you repeat the meeting dates and whether they're going to be live or virtual?
These are all going to be virtual meetings. The May 11th, the August 17th, and November 9th dates this year are all proposed right now to be virtual until all the masks come off and we go back to being normal. Then we're going to have to deal with the scheduling the venues because all the venues are going to get flooded with weddings and social events. So I know our meeting places may be a little bit hard to do. Christine, if you guys open your doors, I know we can fit in the training room there in Iowa. But as far as getting meeting spaces, I know it's already difficult. The place we meet is at a country club here in the suburbs, and they're already booked solid. the second the masks come off. They've been booked solid pretty much last year. So I do have a discussion a little bit later that I'll bring up regarding the in-person meetings for the group and maybe doing smaller venue shindigs, get together with people. If you have an idea of a presentation that you're looking for or would like to see, please let us know. This is how we put the agenda topics together. So based on user feedback is what we end up trying to put together the topics. We'll take a look at what you request, and then we'll go running around trying to find presenters to do those topics, which is what makes the content for the whole meeting. Some of the topic suggestions that I had thrown out from the past at the last user group meeting was the free money for business. Now, it was kind of interesting because nobody in the meeting really talked about that. But I ended up getting 15 emails within the next 3 days. Hey, when's this topic going to be done? Can we get this on the docket? Who can I talk to right now? I can't really wait until February. So I turned around and said, okay, let's bring Jack and see if he can come and do a presentation. He said, yes, not a problem. So that's as easy as it takes. How do I get information into a user group meeting? Just make the request. I threw the topics out here, and I'll go ahead and put the copy of this agenda in with Fred so that he can send this out. Some of the ideas. If these are important to you, please go ahead and let us know, and we'll make sure that, yes, we can put this together and have a good content for the next meeting. Sorry, I was looking at a request that we have the next meeting at Dave & Buster's. I don't think I would ever attend the meeting. I think I'd be stuck to video gaming. I like to kill me some zombies. I'm sorry. I love Dave & Buster's. For the potential in-person meetings, if we are able to pull the masks off and everything goes back to normal, as they're proposing right now, I think our state is one of the more restrictive ones. If they come off at the end of the month as they're proposing, I don't see any problem with putting together smaller subgroup meetings to still get back together, meet face to face, and have a brief content, not necessarily a full 6 or 7 hour face to face meeting, but doing a brief down, hey, let's all get together, kind of regroup and figure out what happened before the pandemic. Because we're all a whirlwind trying to figure out what happened during it. I don't think everybody has a handle on that yet. With Insights being in May on the 23rd to 26th, doing the virtual meeting on the 11th of May, I would probably shoot for the week in between for doing a local Chicago area, if we can get a venue and we can take the masks off and be safe about this. How about you guys, Christine? Would you guys be able to do something similar?
I haven't heard any policy changes for our company just yet. So at this point, I don't know when the Iowa group can meet at Ag Leader again. We could certainly put something together if we could find a venue. But if we want to keep it in our training room for right now, I don't know.
Okay. The pork barbecue place, I'm good for it, over there. I'm like, we can hold it at that restaurant. That was awesome. Probably won't get much talk about Epicor done, but hey, the food was really good. And then Beth, have you heard anything from the library down in Kalamazoo?
I have not. I will look into contacting them, but I know that's going to be a really tight schedule in May, so I will take a look at that. But like I said, I will be at Insights, so hoping to do something with people there as well.
Okay, and then July may be a little easier because it's not such a busy, but there are people on vacation, so we'll have to see how that works. And then October, same thing. That might be a little easier because it's not around the other user group functions that are already going on. So the in-person meetings, we were talking about having those, but staggering those off of when the monthly meeting or the quarterly meeting is for the virtual online meeting. I think it's still a really good forum to do, but I just want to make sure that, yes, we don't turn around and break back into little groups but not work as a cohesive group anymore. That's all I really have for the new business. I know I'm a little early, but hey, I got 4 minutes. We all have life to go run around and go crazy for 4 minutes and then get back to the meeting.
And we have a question
Morning,
from
Jim.
Pierre. We have a question from Pierre Hogue. If the meet is a venue, would it be available remotely still?
That's going to be a hard one to do because we don't have video conferencing capability, I know, at the country club. How about your training room, Christine? I think you had cameras up at the front of the room, but if we can't do it in your training room, it might be hard to do that as a virtual and a in-person.
Right. I'll have to look into that and see if we could, what our option will be there. But we might be able to do both.
Yeah, and I know like the library does not have that capability, so we would have to look at potentially doing something, but might be difficult to do it as a virtual if we're doing it through the library.
But we're still planning on having quarterly virtual meetings, so
Right.
Yes.
people still have some connection. We're just looking to also increase that with in person as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so we'll kind of be a hybrid of both worlds. People that still want to do the face-to-face get together, and then also having the virtual online meetings. I like the content. I kind of like the layout that we came up with over COVID. I think we improved the process. I don't think COVID killed our process. It just changed where we hold it.
Yep. And I think, I know we talked about from here on out, maybe even during the winter months, since the states that we live in, it's hard to travel or predict the weather, that we potentially during those cold months, we probably will do a virtual because it would be a lot easier.
In Minnesota, because then they drive through the snow without a problem.
Well, true. But most people.
I plugged my car in as a teenager. I kept it warm in the winter.
Yeah. So we'll do the virtual meeting always probably during the winter. So.
Okay. I do like the idea. I like also, I've heard a lot of feedback from clients and people that are in the meetings that are like, oh my gosh, I couldn't attend the meeting. I went and watched the video on YouTube. I still got the info. So if we do go in person, it might be more difficult to record the videos and put those out and share them with everyone. So that may be a takeaway when we go back to in-person meetings, or if we have them, because it's going to be harder to record that content. I remember in the past, we had Dave Hoover from Illinois Lock, which brought in his recording equipment, and we tried to record it. But yeah, the video recording equipment back then, we didn't have the selfie rings. We didn't have the mass media skill set that we do now. But in the video, the presenters were really tiny and you could crush them while you were watching it. But yeah, it was really difficult because all the video camera was at the back of the room to kind of get everybody in it. But then the presenter and the presentation on the overhead, those were really tiny. When we do the presentations online, we share the screen, you get a full view of what's going on. So I kind of like the kick in the butt that COVID gave us to improve the process, and I think it went higher. Now let's just find how we mix both worlds and keep it together that way. Okay, I'm kind of good with all my new topics. Beth, Christine, you guys have any others to bring up?
Nope.
No, nothing new here.
So,
just look forward to seeing people in person at Insights.
I know this is going to be, and I'm really on the edge. Do I drive it or do I fly it? Because literally it's not that far from Chicago to Nashville to drive it. It's less than 8 hours. It's kind of a fun road trip through southern Indiana and Kentucky. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to fly it. I may just drive it, take the car for a road trip.
I'm planning on driving and potentially picking up Heather on the way. So
exactly. I'm like, hey, I'm not far from South Bend. I'll put a thumb up.
Hey, we're working on something right now, trying to figure it out. But for the Michigan, Indiana people, if you haven't heard, I have changed jobs. I am now with Perlit Corporation in Wisconsin, but I still live in Michigan and I still represent Michigan and Indiana. As well as I moved back to my hometown, so I am not in the Detroit area. I am north of that, back in Bay City again. So If you've been looking for me or wondering about that, that's just a little update. I had a good opportunity and I can work from anywhere. So it was time to move back home to be near my parents. So
I also have to pick on Heather because she's like, woohoo, girls trip. I'm like, gender bias. Hello. I'm like, let's get one of those party buses. Well, yeah, she's in the chat online. I was like, we should turn around and get a party bus. By the time we get to to Nashville, we'll all be hammered.
Do we start in Iowa?
Heather.
Awesome. So is Justin on? Are you ready to go, Justin?
Justin's on.
As ready as I'll ever be, I guess. I usually don't do anything fancy. I just kind of go off the seat of my pants. So.
You know
want to go
exactly
ahead
what
and
I'm
start
doing
early?
today.
I'm fine as long as everybody's on the call that wants to hear this interesting presentation, I guess. But if it might be their loss if they're not on. Let me figure out. Share my screen.
I still admit, every time I type doc star, it always comes out doc start. It's just a habit of putting the T on the end of it. I'm like, it's like memory of the fingers. Nope, start is always a star.